Hi, I'm Megan. I am from Weller Health Education at Lehigh Valley Health Network Riley Children's Hospital. And today I have another video for our Workplace Readiness series, and we're going to be talking about being organized and why it's important to be organized in the workplace. Hope you enjoy.
In order to be ready for the workplace, it's important to learn how to effectively and appropriately communicate with coworkers, supervisors, and customers. It's also important to learn how to determine which is the appropriate type of attire to wear and how to be a reliable and dependable employee. Being organized at work is also key to being a successful employee. So being organized at work is very important for several reasons. It helps you complete your goals. It helps decrease your overall stress. In addition, you're able to save time finding necessary documents and tools that you may use for projects, assignments, or tasks. Organization can also help you increase your focus, productivity, and efficiency, as well as make positive impressions upon coworkers, supervisors, and customers. And finally, organization decreases waste, so it helps prevent items from being lost, misplaced, or even deleted. One way to be organized is to keep track of when assignments or tasks or projects are due. So it's important to manage your time. So this doesn't go away as soon as you finish high school or college. You still need to be able to finish your projects in a timely fashion. So it's really easy to enter in the deadlines into your calendar, especially when they're first mentioned during a meeting or when you receive it in an email. So one way that you can enter it into the calendar is through something called time blocking. So essentially, time blocking is where you set off specific blocks of time in your day to complete tasks, such as checking your email or working on different projects and tasks. So this is Outlook. It's a lot of companies use Microsoft Outlook, but some companies may use different calendars for their workplace. So for Outlook, all you have to do to enter in an event is just click on the calendar itself for where you want the event to be, or you can click here in the top left corner and just click New Event. And then you can enter in all the details. You can invite different attendees, especially if it's a meeting. You can enter in obviously the time where it's going to be. This is a great place also to put, if it's virtual, so to put like the Zoom link, for instance. And then you can also add some more notes, so you can put in the agenda for the meeting or put in a description of what the task is that you should be working on. And then you can also add in reminders to remind you when you should finish the assignment, task, or project by, or when you should be working on it. So this is located here at the top. So it says 15 minutes before, and later on I'll show you the different options that you can choose from. So I just made the new event larger, so this is where you can add more details to it. And then you can also categorize different events. So for instance, meetings could be like the color red, as you can see. And then you can also add multiple categories to it, especially if a meeting pertains to a specific project. So for instance, you can add on Project A. It's a meeting about Project A. So this is an example of time blocking off your calendar. So as you can see, you have time to check your emails in the morning, and then you work on the project from 9 to 10 Monday morning, and then right afterwards you have a meeting, and then every day you have lunch from 12 to 1, for instance. And this is just like the afternoon. So you can see exactly what you should be working on and when, and also it allows others, if you give them access to your calendar, then they can also see what you're working on, so then they know when they can ask you certain things or if they want to meet with you about something. So this is the reminder that I was talking about a couple slides ago. So there's different times that you can put to remind yourself to do the task or the assignment or the project. So you have 5 minutes before, 15 minutes before, an hour, a week before, and then you can even customize it even further than that. And so if you expand the reminder tab, it gives you the options again of when you want to be reminded about the event or the task or the assignment or the project, and then you can add notes as well. Another way to be organized in the workplace is by creating a plan on how you will tackle a project or a task or an assignment that you receive from your supervisor or from a client. And so this action plan, it helps you choose when to complete the task, so you can finish the project in an efficient and an organized manner. It also helps you stay motivated, accountable, on schedule, and within budget. And then if you do finish your project early, then it provides you time to receive constructive feedback from colleagues or from your supervisor. So there's 5 steps involved in an action plan. So the first step is creating SMART goals. Now, SMART is an acronym. It stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So what this means is that your goal should be specific. So for instance, if you want to create 2 presentations by the end of the month, then you would say, I want to create 2 presentations by June 30th of 2024. So starting with specific, your goal should be specific and answer the questions, what do you want to accomplish and what actions do you need to take? So an example would be, say, I want to increase the views on a health company's YouTube channel by 15%. That is more specific instead of saying, I want more people to view our YouTube videos. So it's important that the goal is specific. Next is measurable, so make sure your goal is measurable. So this means creating a way to determine your progress in achieving the goal. So it may be in the form of reports or completing certain actions. So if we continue with our example of increasing the views of a health company's YouTube channel by 15%, one action I could take to show that I'm making progress towards the goal is by creating 2 45-minute video presentations about a health topic. And so by creating these new videos, it will draw more people to the channel and our other videos on the channel as well. Next, the goal should be attainable. So you should be asking yourself, do you have the resources and the time to achieve the goal? So resources include money. It could be equipment, so physical equipment like computers or laptops. It could also be virtual equipment, so that means softwares or subscriptions to specific websites such as Canva. It could also mean personnel as well. So continuing again with our example, so to create the new videos and to increase the views on the health company's YouTube channel, it's important that I have enough time to complete the videos and that I also have access to a working video camera, a microphone, and a computer or a laptop. Next, you have to make sure that the goal is relevant to your company's needs and your clients' needs. So in our example, the health company's mission is to provide health education for clients. And so the 2 health videos can help further the mission of the company. So in the videos, it's important that I stay on topic and that I actually provide information that the company wants me to give. And also, it's important for me to give information that the clients need. And then finally, your goal should be time-based. So it's important to set a specific and realistic deadline. So you should be asking yourself, can the goal be completed by the deadline? So it may be helpful to create a timeline so then you can break up the goals into smaller steps so then you don't feel overwhelmed. But when you do create that timeline, it's important that the timeline is realistic and can allow for adjustments if necessary. So if we return to our example, we would say, I want to increase the views of a health company's YouTube channel by 15% by December 31st, 2024, so by the end of the year. And to help achieve this goal, I want to upload one 45-minute video by the end of quarter 1, which is March 31st of 2024. And then I want to upload the second 45-minute video by the end of quarter 2, which is June 30th, 2024. And so again, your goal should be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. Now, the second part of the action plan is to create a list of actions. So you can do this in the form of a to-do list, which is what we're going to discuss next. It's important that the actions are brief. It's important that they're also specific, and you can also break them up into several parts, because if you just give yourself one large action to do, it can be a little overwhelming. So it's important to break it up so then you don't feel so overwhelmed, and then you can actually fulfill your goal. The next step is to create a timeline. So carefully consider how much time you need to complete each task. And then next is to identify and assign resources. So you may need assistance of coworkers. Each colleague that you work with, they have different skills, knowledge, and abilities. You also need to think about resources needed for the overall goal and for each task, whether that's money, or it could be equipment. So it could be physical or virtual equipment like software and subscriptions to websites. Equipment could also be personnel, so relying on a different team for help. So that could be accounting or marketing. And then the last step is to track your progress. So you can do that in the form of reports or through meetings. And so those are the 5 steps for an action plan. So now we're going to talk about how to create a to-do list and also what the purpose of a to-do list is. So a to-do list is used to help you manage your time and fulfill your action plan. It helps you keep track of what needs to be completed, as well as which tasks need to be prioritized above the rest. And then these to-do lists can be handwritten or typed, and you can also color code them. And then make sure that the tasks that you write down on your to-do list are SMART. So again, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound or time-based. And also make sure the tasks are brief, because as I said earlier, you don't want to overwhelm yourself by putting down very large tasks that you need to complete. Also make sure that you are updating the list frequently. So that means whenever you think of a task, write it down as soon as you can, and then checking off the task as soon as you are done with them. And then of course, when you're finished with tasks, make sure that you take a break and reward yourself. So again, I'm going to show the Microsoft Office to-do list that they have available, but there's other places you can get templates from, like Canva. So this is the task page for Outlook, and essentially you can add your task here in the blank space, and then you can add a deadline to it. So it can be the day of, the next day, or the next week, or you can even pick a specific date. Then you can also set a reminder for when you need to complete it by, or when you should be working on it. Again, you can pick a specific date and time, or you can use the ones that they provide. And then finally, you can repeat this task. So if you have to do this task every week or every month or once a year, then you can add that to the task as well. And so here I just added some tasks for one of the projects that we are working on. So for Project A, so one of the tasks is to create a budget for it. And so what you can do is that you can actually add sub-steps to each task. And then you can add it to something called My Day, which just tells you you should be working on this task today. So if you look to the left here, it'll go into this folder. You can set a reminder, you can add the due date, you can, again, repeat the task. You can even pick a category, and it'll show up here in the middle section. And then you can also add a file. So again, I just zoomed in on that sidebar. So again, you can add more of these sub-task steps. You can set all types of reminders and due dates, so then you don't forget what you need to do and when it's due by. Another way that you can be organized is by organizing documents that your company may have. So these documents can be physical documents, so like printed, or they could be virtual, so they could be like Word documents, PDF files, Excel spreadsheets, for instance. And So there's a couple ways that you can organize these documents. You can organize them alphabetically or chronologically, so whether it's oldest to newest or newest to oldest document. You can also organize them by importance. But by organizing them alphabetically, chronologically, or by importance, it makes it easier for others to understand your organization system as well, and it can help people find what documents that they need. It's also important to delete or recycle or shred duplicates that you may have, or any documents that you won't use or refer to in the future. Or you can even just put them into a folder if you're not sure what to do with the documents, and you can just title it as archive. And there's a couple ways that you can label the documents. So I'll show on the next slide that there are several ways you can label it: by project, by date, or even by name. You can even color code the folders or even the binders that you put the documents into. And if it's a physical document, you can use Label Maker to make labels for each of the binder or the folder. And then also for documents, you may have to secure confidential information. So you may need to lock up the documents into a cabinet with a key if it's a physical document. But if it's a virtual document, then you may need to password protect the document or the Excel spreadsheet, for instance. And then you can pin applications, notes, documents, and folders to your desktop so then you can find them easily, especially if you use these documents, folders, applications frequently. So as I mentioned on the last slide, these are some ways that you can label and organize your documents. So you can do it by name, you can do it by project, and you can do it by date. So starting with project, this is best if you collaborate a lot among different organizations and departments. Labeling it by date is helpful, for instance, if you work in accounting. And then labeling it by name is best for companies that work with specific clients or customers and organizations. So for instance, marketing works with a lot of different organizations, and same with financial advisors. They work with a lot of different companies and also individual people too. And then when you're labeling them, make sure that you are specific and that you include dates and different version numbers, so then people can know which version is the most recent one or which one is the oldest one. So here are some ways that you can organize and store documents, physical documents. So you have these cabinets on the left side and in the middle, and these both have locks so you can lock confidential information. The top right is just an example of using binders for organization, and you have them neatly organized on the shelves. And then below is just a picture of folders that are color coded. So again, each color can represent a different project or task or assignment or organization or client. And then another way to be organized actually is by taking breaks throughout the day. So these breaks restore focus and attention. It also provides you time to reflect on problems and challenges. It increases your creativity. So some ways that you can take breaks is by having a snack, grabbing a cup of coffee, tea, or hot chocolate, listening to music, just generally stepping away from your screen and standing up. You could also rest your eyes, or you could go outside and take a walk by yourself. You could take a walk with a coworker or meet up with a friend or a family member, or you can even eat your lunch outside. And so one way to help you take breaks is by using the Pomodoro technique, which if we go back to the previous screen, basically it's a way for you to work for about 25 minutes, and then you take a break, like a 5-minute break.
And you do this 4 times.
And then for the final one, that's when you would take your longer break. I think the break extends by about 5 to 10 minutes. So that's one way that you can keep track of when to take breaks and when to go back to work. So it's important to maintain organization because, as we said earlier, it helps increase your productivity. It helps you find documents and spreadsheets that you may need to help complete project assignments and tasks. So as a result, it's important not to have papers all over the place, like in the pictures shown on the screen, because it can be really hard to find what you need at the moment, and also it just looks very messy and unprofessional. Also, it's important to not have trash all over your desk. Take time at the end of each week to clean up the workspace, and it also applies to remote jobs as well. So if you're working from home, make sure that your workplace is clean and tidy at the end of the week. So that includes shredding, recycling, or deleting unnecessary documents. So again, documents that have sensitive information should be shredded, or if they are recycled, they should be placed into special bins, such as the one on the left and in the middle. These actually have locks, so you can't go in and look through all the paperwork. It's a little more secure. And then you can also just recycle paper that doesn't contain sensitive information in these kind of blue bins. Every workplace has different looking bins, but these are just some of the general ones that can be seen throughout different workplaces. It's also important to store necessary documents properly back in their shelves, in the binders, or back in the locked cabinet, or in a folder on the computer. Also, put the binders and the files back themselves into the shelves and the cabinets, wiping down any surfaces that you have, so like the desk, the phone, the computer, the keyboard, or the mouse. It can get dusty over time, and then also if you do eat at your desk, you can also get crumbs everywhere, so it's important to clean up afterwards. And so throw away any trash or leftover food that you have. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. It's another part of our Workplace Readiness series. In this video, we talked about being organized at the workplace. So check out our other videos on how to be prepared for the workplace. See you next time.